The thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Thursday, October 10th, 10/10. And today is National Angel Food Cake Day, you guys. Adam, we need to play. It's also National Cake Decorating Day. Oh, Jenny Beth, you're going to love this. It's National Handbag Day.
It's way better than what it used to be, which was my wedding anniversary.
Adam, this is going too fast, bro. All right. It's also National Walk to a Park Day. National Metric Day, you guys. Shout out to kilograms.
Okay, what about hop to a park?
What's that?
When is National Hop to a Park Day?
What are you talking about?
National Hop to a Park?
Is National Hawk Tua Day?
Is it National Hop to a Park Day?
No, it's National Walk to a Park Day.
What over your head, Jason?
Yes, well, Hakatuya, yes. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So thank you to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And we're going to kick this thing off today with the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, the Happy Cabbage specialist, who is the doer of all things that Happy Cabbage asks. That's right. Even if it means, being a little late, being on time, or just showing up. That's right. It is none other than the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
You felt like shade.
Yeah, thank you, Jason. You're so smooth with that,
Yeah.
If you were paying me, then maybe I'd show up more.
Trust me, I know. We're working at that, bro. Hopefully we can get some sponsors so we can do that and make that happen.
But you know what? I love you regardless.
I do too.
All right, so today, what I also, the place that I also love? I love the place where they call Jason Beck White Gucci.
Yeah, Detroit, Michigan, baby.
Hey, we're going to talk a little bit about Michigan this morning. This story is coming out of Green Market Report. Our good friend over there. Is this Schreier on this one? Yeah, this is actually Dustin Walsh. So basically, in the story is showing that court ruling is dealing a blow, or they're trying to deal a blow, to Michigan's illicit cannabis market. So the Michigan Court of Appeals has closed a legal loophole in the state's marijuana laws, allowing prosecutors to pursue felony charges against individuals who possess or distribute large amounts of cannabis without a state license. The ruling from the case People versus Julia Soto involved a defendant caught with 20 pounds of weed and $10,000 in cash. Soto's lawyers argued that Michigan's 2018 recreational law, MRTMA, prohibited felony charges. It's a trapper's dream. Sounds a lot like California. Stating that while MRTMA legalizes personal use, it does not permit large-scale illicit operations. The decision overturns a prior ruling that limited unlicensed cannabis operations to limiting unlicensed cannabis operations to misdemeanor charges, even in cases involving large quantities. The previous interpretation had led to a surge in trapping or illicit cannabis cultivation, which hurt the legal market, so they say. They're still number one. What are they complaining about? By reintroducing felony charges, the court aims to protect Michigan's regulated cannabis industry, which has been struggling due to black market competition. Experts believe that this ruling could stabilize the state's marijuana market by reducing the oversupply of illegally grown cannabis and might influence future cases related to cannabis regulation. I don't know about this. The trap always wins. The trap will always find a way. But is this going to deal a death blow to the trap out in Michigan? Will they evolve? Or it's just going to be business as usual, and Michigan going to keep on doing their thing? So there's my questions for everybody. Rico Lamitte, the Devil's Dad, on the street for High at Night. What do y'all think? Should California follow suit?
Hold on. I'm so confused. What the hell did they just do?
They made illegal operations felonies again.
Oh, interesting.
California's already working on recriminalizing, especially for licensed entities to knowingly do business with unlicensed entities. So, I mean, I think, don't know if they made it a felony again. I'd have to throw that one to Dale, but they're definitely recriminalizing things.
I'm not sure if they actually can re-felonize it because it was voted on by the voters. I think they would have to have a voter referendum in order to make it a felony again, Rico, in California.
Have you looked at your ballot yet? There's a whole initiative about a lot of things being recriminalized again, like stealing anything over $900.
It's all about yes, and I've already voted. I cast my ballot in the other day.
Same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you vote for Kanye?
What's that? No,
you voted for Kanye?
No way, bro. I voted for Trump, bro. I voted for the winner.
Oh man, Jason, you act like I don't know this. Triggered.
Well, I think it's an interesting question here in California because we have one of those initiative statutes that you can't change an initiative by the legislature.
Mm-hmm.
So 64 took away. I mean, it made all cannabis offenses a misdemeanor soaking wet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be a tough swim, try and make it a felony without going back to the people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm totally with you on that, Dale. Have you seen the hats, Rico, that say "Make crime illegal again"?
No, I don't really. I don't go to Trump rallies, so I don't really see it.
I didn't see it at a Trump rally.
I don't really go. I don't really.
I saw it on the internet, on the web.
I don't really go out and hang out on truth.com and get scammed.
This was not on truth.com, bro. This was on Instagram. Okay, you're on there all the time.
My algorithm is very different than yours, so I don't
Well, I think people are ready to recriminalize what we call malum in se crimes, those crimes that are wrong in and of themselves. The stuff that's malum prohibited, like drug laws, I think people are just shaking their heads like, no, we've done that before. But if you're a lying, stealing sack of shit, beating people up and things like that, no. You should spend some time in the hooskow eating with a fork, with a spork.
I think you're totally right about that, Dale. I think.
Dale, let's not give, KFC uses sporks.
I mean, KFC's not even chicken though, Jenny Beth.
What?
It's not.
do you guys?
Dog from Ohio.
Another white man has lied to me. I'm upset.
Do you guys think it's going to put a dent in the trap market in Michigan? Like, what do you guys think about that?
Do we think it's going to put a dent in the trap market? No way. Not a chance.
No.
Detroit is Trap City, USA.
Has it put a dent in the trap anywhere else? Have we not trapped prior to not being? The only thing that's going to stop us, these little kitty Instagram trappers and these little Chad Brad bros that think it's cool because it's safe, right? All of us who are willing to get a felony to begin with are still going to be willing to get a fucking felony.
That is 100% true, Jenny Beth.
You a second ago.
I
think Rachelle was on mute.
Oh yeah, Rachelle, what do you have to say about all of this? Detroit, Trap City, USA. You're pretty close to there.
There we go.
Are you there, Rachelle? Are you with us?
Oh no.
Are you on mute? Are you on mute, Rachelle? We can't hear you.
Uh-oh.
We can't hear you, Rachelle.
Problematic. Rachelle, Discord changed their settings recently. You might want to check your audio settings again in Discord.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I plugged my mic, and it has me like all robotic and shit.
I thought you just like reverb.
Yo, shout out to the chat this morning, by the way. They're coming in strong.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They said it's 10-10. It's Jenny Beth Day because I'm a 10 out of 10. Thank you, guys.
Oh, is that why they're trying to say that?
Yeah.
That is Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
I'm with you, Jason. I don't really think it's going to change anything as far as trappers are trap. Period. Just because you're making it a felony, I just think it's going to be just put more people in jail. But that's creates a power vacuum, and the people who were a top dog before, there's going to be new top dogs coming behind them. Everybody is always willing to take that risk.
I bet you.
Are we worried about public safety? Are we worried about, kind of secure products or secure profits for some of these companies that aren't doing so fucking hot? Like at this point, it's the Steve D'Angelo program. We're putting competition in jail.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I said it.
But you've got to get the money for enforcement, and that's always been the problem. Is that people have to go dig up money to enforce these laws, and the cops on the street are just not that interested in doing it. There's real crime going on out there, not somebody selling weed out the back door. It doesn't matter what laws you pass. If you can't enforce them, or you're not going to spend the money to enforce them, they're just worthless. The only way to fix this problem is to legalize this across the board, greenlight everybody to sell this shit, and then let the market get rid of the trap. The market will kill the trap. Cops will not kill the trap.
No, well, thank God that all of our taxes are so high, and all of our cannabis taxes go into a little something called the general fund, which for you at home means politicians and police.
And special interests. Don't forget those. They take a lot of it too. Special interests. Well,
I think I heard Rachelle.
Yeah, Rachelle, are you with us?
Yes.
Yay! The trap always wins.
Yeah. I mean, Rachelle, you're very close to Detroit.
Yeah, they be trapping. They trap everywhere though. Like, has the trap ever gone away in any legal market ever?
Nope.
But I agree with Jason. It is Detroit Trap City.
That's why they call me White Gucci out there.
They call him White Gucci, and I can attest to that. Everybody's like, "Oh, don't call Jason that." I was in that camp, and then my homie. It was like a movie, wasn't that, Jason?
Yeah.
We were at MJ's. My homie heard from the D. Yep. He's like, "Yo, they be calling this nigga White Gucci."
That's what they do. That's what they do out in the streets of the D. You know what I'm saying? White Gucci.
What you spend a lot of time around the big D, Jason?
Well, pause.
The big D is Dallas. D is Detroit. The big D is Dallas.
Yeah.
Beats me. It's early.
I bet.
Fair enough.
I bet. And well,
it's my day.
Let you tell it. Let you tell it. Well, we're gonna go to a commercial. We're gonna be right back.
I'm Cole Preston, and today I'm at Blue Island Beer Company for the premiere of my mini documentary on legalization policy in Illinois. I've been following cannabis policy since colorful Colorado legalized it all the way back in the day, and when my home state of Illinois decided to legalize it, I just became enamored. I wondered, what would it actually look like? If you'd like to see how Illinois fell short in achieving meaningful reform in their cannabis policy, you can watch my mini-doc now at colememo.com/mini-doc.
Oh, and we're back, Rico.
Oh, yeah. Y'all know who it is. It's the man who annexed Orange County.
What?
He annexed Orange County, did he not?
Just his little piece of it. He got Huntington Beach.
Yeah, it is. It starts with a piece and it ends up being the whole damn pie.
Shout out to cities that incorporate voter ID laws.
There he is, the man who is convincing local chefs one at a time that they too should turn into cannabis cafes. He's a high news head honcho, the highest Republican in every single room, known for smoking the best weed in the world. And like I just said, he is known as White Gucci. This has been confirmed by men on the street in Detroit. White Gucci, Jason Beck.
Yes. Good morning, Rico. Hope everyone's having a fantastic week. It's Thursday, you guys. We're almost to Friday. And Rachelle, I think you're going to love this story, Rachelle. So welcome back. Yeah. Hopeful marijuana retailers are worried that Minnesota won't license until 2026, you guys. That's right. They're seeing the timeline move further away as the Office of Cannabis Management sorts through its first round of license applications, you guys. High aspirations, low aspirations, and all of the aspirations. Dirt covers the ground where Sean Weber wishes he could be growing marijuana. He's a Vikings fan, so he says he lives with high aspirations and low expectations. Sounds like he should be a Cleveland Browns fan, too. And that applies to his hopes for cannabis licensing. In a quote, everybody that is either interested or in the industry, we're in a hurry. Up and wait situation. Weber, who owns Coasted River Cannabis in Morgan, Minnesota, told Fox 9. Legal cannabis longer than expected, you guys. That's right, because legislators didn't expect to wait this long between legalizing and licensing when they introduced the bill back in January of 2023. In a quote, I think it would be a matter of months, not years, before you would be able to be in a legal marketplace, said one of the authors, Representative Zach Stephenson, a Democrat from Coons Rapids. Nor 4 months later when the governor signed the bill. That will probably take 12 to 18 months, Representative Stevens said, of popping up the Office of Cannabis Management and preparing for retail licensing. That was now 17 months ago, and everyone's asking, what's taking so long? Well, since this August, the Office of Cannabis Management has been reviewing more than 1,800 social equity business applications. What seems to be slowing the process is confirming the applicants are the real owners of the business and not just a face propped up by an out-of-state corporation, you guys. In a quote, they're trying to figure out how they can make sure that these people aren't getting more than one license and all this stuff, said Representative Nolan West, Republican from Blaine. That's just a waste of time, he says. Representative West supported the legalization, but says people can transfer licenses so easily this review is almost meaningless, you guys. And now the current timeline, that's right. In a quote, they say, we continue to be on track to hold a lottery before the end of this year and will not sacrifice a thorough review for expediency, said OCM spokesperson Jim Walker in a statement to Fox 9. In their best case scenario, the lottery for pre-approval of the first 282 licenses would happen at the 19-month mark, you guys. Actual licensing can't happen until general applications are sorted and a second lottery is held. And the OCM interim director, Charlene Brenner, has said it'll happen by March, you guys. 22 months after legalization, several applicants are telling Fox 9 they're skeptical it'll even happen before 2026. But that's right, you guys. Everyone is remaining patient in Minnesota. And Weber's still hoping for the best and prepared for the worst, you guys. In a quote, he says, they're doing their due diligence, he said. It's never going to be fast enough for us, but just remain patient. Minnesota is on pace to be the 5th slowest of 23 states to go from legalization in legal states. In fact, Ohio legalized it 6 months after Minnesota and already started retail sales, you guys. Man, oh man, oh man. I wonder if part of the reason that this is all happening is because Tim Walz is out campaigning and not governing. But nonetheless, I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
No one here is surprised.
No one here is surprised? I love this, Rachelle. Do tell.
I mean, everything happens very slowly in Minnesota, first and foremost, right?
It's like
we
trees
only
growing.
We only got the right to buy beer on a Sunday less than a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
So things take forever. And I am definitely not surprised. They promised a social equity lottery by the fall, just like you said in your story. Mm-hmm. They can't verify all the details fast enough. They're dangerously short-staffed, and frankly, I think they're in over their heads over at the OCM. And now we have this new problem where all of these folks that would have been social equity applicants had their records expunged, which we love expungements. That's great. But because their records have been expunged, now there's no record of them having a cannabis case, and therefore they're not qualifying for social equity. So that's been a huge problem too. People trying to track down, sometimes decades old court paperwork to prove that they were once charged or, sentenced. So it's just been a huge mess over here.
Oh boy.
Sounds like a mess to me. They're trying to sort through all these social equity applicants. What do you think about this, Rico?
Tim Walz is going to sort it out.
Yeah, okay.
I bet.
Put him in, coach.
Yeah. Oh man, I saw that. I saw that in some post. How everyone, the reason people like him is because they remind him of a football coach. That's pretty funny.
He was a coach. He's America's dad.
Yeah. Who are the people?
Well,
that
I don't know my
of?
dad, so.
Yeah, me either. So.
Oh boy. Oh,
I'm not going to dive into the race thing.
Tim Walz may be your dad.
We already talked about Jason's ashy list. We don't have to go any further into it.
Ooh, Jason's
What's amazing to me is it takes a court order to expunge your record. To say, we have to go digging really deep looking for, an expungement. It's like, no, to expunge somebody's record, there has to be an official action taken. And that's a new record, not one that's 10 years old. So I just want to say this is more governmental bullshit that they throw back out at there. And I know here in California that they allowed certain jurisdictions to say no or to drag their feet. And so I'm not surprised when you've got jurisdictions around the country that just are slower than molasses in January. What is the incentive for them to do this? I don't know. The people that want to get a license aren't driving the train. It's the people that are giving the permits, giving the building permits, the local licenses. They're driving the train, and they're just taking their sweet ass time. I mean, when you look at Ohio that can have this up and running in a matter of months, you just have to wonder why is it taking years. I mean, I've got projects here in California that are 4 years deep, and we're still standing here twiddling our thumbs because you can't do shit to make the government move any faster. I mean, mind-boggling.
Dale, and it's like, and they're saying they're not expecting anything until 2026. That's already going to be time for the next midterm election, Dale.
Yeah. Well, it's disgusting, is what it is. Because inside the government, there's a lot of forces that still don't want to fast-track cannabis. Or they want to fast-track it, this shit gets fast-tracked. Or they don't, they drag their feet. And in the meantime, the business that's trying to do this, if you sign a lease and you then have to twiddle your thumbs for 2 or 3 years, you go broke. I mean, that's just the practical realities of having to wait and wait and wait for nothing.
That's the plan, though, right? They create these programs and they have no forethought on how they're going to sustain them or what's going to happen if these people actually get licensed. So there's no, but I guess the good news here is that good old Governor Ball Coach will be able to continue his gubernatorial reign next year, and maybe he'll fix it.
I ain't holding my breath.
Oh man, you think he's going to fix it? Really? You think he's capable?
No,
of
I think
that?
he's still going to be governor next year, though.
I do too.
He's a handyman. He's a handyman.
Is that what he is? That's how he identifies?
He knows how to roll up his sleeves and get dirty, you know what I'm saying? Like, sure.
He's going to tell him to rub some dirt on it and walk it off is what he's going to do.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's better than rubbing some dirt on them eyelids and, calling it guy liner. You know what I'm saying?
Are you upset you don't have luxurious long eyelashes? Because look, am I wearing eyeliner right now?
I hear jealousy.
No, I just have long lashes.
I've been told, I don't know if you guys can zoom in, I've been told I have very, very, very long and curly eyelashes.
I've seen you. I've been all up in your facial area. You're my friend. No, you don't.
It sounds like we need to take a poll while we out in the streets, you know what I'm saying, and not just keep on reading that Rasmussen thinking everything's right.
All right,
you know
fair enough. Adam, let's put up a poll. Who has better eyelashes, J.D. Vance or Rico Lamitte?
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's
the greatest poll ever.
How about we add a question in there? Who gives a shit? How's this fixing cannabis policy? I don't want to be a turd in your punch bowl, but wear an eyeliner,
Hey,
trying to be
well,
famous and pretty.
Presidential
Don't
debates
fix
are.
problems.
You know, Dale.
I'll give
Go ahead, Rico.
I'll give JD Vance the leg up when he probably has
creating a
better
handicap already.
He probably has a better past Halloween photos than I do.
You know they do say, Dale. They say that the eyes are the windows to the soul.
Yeah. But that ain't going to raise you money or make you a successful business. So
I think eyes do raise money. I think they do, because you have to look people in the eyes when you want to get the money.
You ever look at Donald Trump? You know, if you take his mouth, you can actually replace his eyes, and it looks exactly the same. Dead serious. Look at it next time you look at a picture of Trump. Next time you look at a picture of Donald Trump, his eyes and his mouth are the exact same shape. You can replace his eyes. Yeah, they're interchangeable. You'll never look at the pictures of him.
You're trying to say
just like Rico's ass in his face.
You're trying to say that Trump. Are you trying to say that Trump identifies as a Mr. Potato Head? Is that what you're trying to make the statement of?
I like that.
I figured you would. I figured.
Are you saying if he was a Lego set that Rachelle wouldn't be able to tell which piece was which?
That's what. Oh man!
You don't challenge my Lego skill like that.
there you go.
That's right. Oh, Rico, you're polling, Rico. You're not winning, but I'm surprised that people are voting for your eyelashes.
Who voted for Rico?
Mm-hmm.
You got a super fan in the chat too.
Yeah, apparently.
Why are you mad?
Because I know you and I've seen your lashes.
Should I show up with guy liner on tomorrow? Will you vote for me if I show up with guy liner on tomorrow, Jenny Beth? Is that what it takes?
If you show up with luscious long eyelashes looking like the SpongeBob meme, I will vote for you.
Are you going to be in studio tomorrow, Rico, with your eyeliner on?
I will confirm after the show.
Okay.
As long as I can get Jasmine to take baby to daycare tomorrow morning. Yes, I will.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. We're going to keep this train rolling. We're going to roll right into attorney at law, Mr. Dale Schafer. He's the founder of Armada Law Practice, and at one point in time did some time for a cannabis crime. He didn't do no telling, but he did become a convicted felon. That's right. It is none other than attorney at law, Mr. Dale Schafer.
Hey.
Yay!
Cannabis criminals, we don't run our mouth. We don't snitch.
Yes.
We ride our own beef.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And my story this morning is something that I've dealt with for decades now. It has to do with where people get their information about cannabis, if you're a patient or a consumer. And this comes out of Marijuana Moment yesterday from Ben Adlin. And the headline is, most people don't trust the government for marijuana information, a federally funded study shows. And this was a study that was partially funded by NIDA, the National Institute of Drug Abuse. And they surveyed 1,161 people. Now, this is not a large survey. Molly and I had 15,000 patients. And so we had lots of input from lots of people. And this is a small cohort. But it did point out some interesting things, that when people want information about weed, they go to the government, 4.7% of the time. They go to their medical provider 9.3% of the time. They go to bud tenders 8.6% of the time. Those you would think would be out there to be reliable sources of information. The public's going, nah, we don't trust you. But they go to family and friends 35.6% of the time. And websites 33.7% of the time. Now, this information is not surprising to me because I've been voting since before the DEA was founded. Mm-hmm. And I know that what the DEA did, I'm old as dirt, And my eye got to pull my eyes up to see, is my eyeliner.
I thought you were going to say eyeliner.
I want to be in there with Rico.
I love you, Dale.
Your eyeliner, your guy liner is on fleek, as the kids say.
Oh, boy.
Hey, I get a lot of mulligans because I'm older than dirt. Hey, now, what I've seen through the history of the DEA is that they would not fund a study that would show anything positive about weed. Okay? And if somebody did, and this is a guy named Taskin out of UCLA in the 80s, he studied weed. The DEA said, go out there and study it on the lungs, see what it does. He came back and said it's healthier to smoke weed than it is to breathe the air in LA. Oh my God, the DEA lost their mind. We'll never give you another study. But that's what we saw coming out decade after decade from the government. Blatant lies or just shaving the truth. So there's a reason why people don't trust the government. Now, when I met Molly, she was still in medical school. And we talked extensively about what they studied in neurophysiology. None of it was the endocannabinoid system. And today, or actually as of 2016, the study reports only 9% of medical schools had cannabis-specific curriculum in medical school, despite the fact that physicians are clamoring for more information about this. Now, the endocannabinoid system is well known. You know, CB1, CB2 receptors. You know about anandamide, 2-AG, ghrelin. There's a lot of things that physicians should know coming out of medical school about cannabis, because a whole lot of people are smoking weed. I mean, they've got 27% of this study smokes weed daily or at least regularly. So if you're not studying this, you're not doing a service to your patients. Paul Armento, who's the deputy director of NORML, just railed against this, because we've all seen this for years. If you're a physician and you're not staying up to date on something that percentage of your patient is doing, you are derelict in your duties. You're violating your Hippocratic Oath. But when you look around for reasonable mandatory medical education, you just don't find the studies out there. You don't find the classes. So we're stuck in this place where most people go to their family and friends for medical information, and their family and friends, they don't know what they're talking about. What kind of information are you getting? There's a giant hole out there in the information, and somebody should be filling this void. I've advocated for my clients that have dispensaries, you should put in your dispensary information by medical professionals and know what they're talking about, so people can sit down and not listen to a bud tender, not have their Uncle Bill or their Aunt Judy tell them about weed, but get medical professionals to know what they're talking about, and they're out there giving you reasonable information. Because people who use weed, unless they're using it specifically for medical purposes, don't consider themselves medical users. But most people will use weed for medical purposes at least some of the time. So there's a great effort out there to not get the information out. And I have to point to the government and to these medical schools as the culprits that are keeping the information away from people who would be putting the information out. Nurse practitioners, physician's assistant, physicians, psychologists, psychiatrists, they should all be trained in the endocannabinoid system, keep up on the latest of what's going on with cannabinoids use in the system, what it's used to treat for. Otherwise, we have a giant hole in the information out there, and I don't see how this is going to get fixed unless we fill that void. I'm going to throw this back at you. What do you guys think?
Surprise, surprise. The people don't trust the government.
Yeah, for good reason, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. I'm not surprised by this at all whatsoever. I mean, I don't think people in general just trust the government, and so why would they trust the government in something that they've been lying to them about for years upon years, decades?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, why would you trust Donald Trump when he's been lying to you about everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, things just don't make sense.
Stop it.
People
Donald Trump is not considered government like that. Donald Trump is anti-establishment, bro. So stop your ridiculousness.
Yeah. Why would you trust anybody who continuously lies to you for years and years? I don't trust Kamala Harris. I don't trust Donald Trump. I don't trust none of them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Like,
did you know that when you come on the show high, that your mouth and your eyes are the same shape?
I'm not high.
Rico, we have always known you have major trust issues, Rico. We've always known that.
I do, man. I was abandoned as a child. You know what I'm saying? I just find my own way. Mm-hmm. I trust me. I trust my heart. I trust my soul, and I trust everything that I tell myself every single morning when I go through my affirmations. Jason, do you trust yourself?
100%. I trust myself.
Sum. There you go.
Yeah.
Self-love.
Think, therefore you are.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm. Also in God I trust, and that's probably pretty much about it.
Yeah.
Because other than that, I pretty much trust people.
Who's your God?
Hold on. And pretty much other than that, I trust people pretty much as far as I can throw them. And since I'm disabled, it's not that far.
God is Jesus' daddy.
Well, people lie so much anymore, you just wonder, does anybody tell the truth? And there's the problem.
No, especially if they were born male.
What?
Oh. Well, being
that's
female
not,
don't make you right.
If that's not projectionism, I don't know what is.
Why are you so triggered, Jason?
It's because I'm just shocked and appalled that she would even say something like that with the amount of lies.
You've been my friend for like 6 or 7 years. Why the hell are you shocked and or
I
appalled?
am shocked and appalled.
Appalled,
Jason,
maybe, but shocked, not really, right?
Shocked.
Jason is a protector of women everywhere.
100%.
Jason, you know my ex. You know why I think all men lie.
Numbers don't lie.
We're not all like that, Jenny Beth. Come on.
Triggered.
That's what they always tell me right before they're just like that. I'm kidding. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
I got
know.
read off Jason's ass.
Yeah.
Well, the irony of this this article is most people don't trust the government for marijuana information. A federally funded study shows. So we trust this government-funded study.
Are you saying
can't trust it
I like what you did
We don't have
there.
anything beyond. Well, we don't have anything beyond preclinical trials. So how the fuck are we supposed to trust the information the government's putting out? Like that's why when I was pregnant and I wanted to see like if I needed to actually stop using cannabis, like full stop. I looked at studies from Canada. I looked at studies from Israel. I looked at studies from countries that actually put the time into studying and putting out the information they find instead of looking at the study long enough to find something that they want to skew to fit their narrative and then put the round hole into the square peg into the round hole and say this is what it is, because that's what we're doing with this information. So the government has bred this distrust because they're using it as for prohibitionist purposes. So I mean, yeah, I'm shocked.
Yeah, the first thing I do when I see any of these studies, I look at who's funding them, and I make my decision leaning one way or the other, seeing where that money's coming from. Just follow the money, and 9 out of 10 times you're going to find out what the answer is. So I don't put anything in these polls.
Some of our biggest findings back in the day were that people stop or reduce their pain medication when they have adequate supplies of cannabis. They cut or reduce their anti-anxiety medication, their sleep medication. There are a lot of pharmaceuticals people just walked away from willingly. And when you are a threat like that to the pharmaceutical company's bottom line, and you may not know who's funding these studies or who's pulling the strings, but you don't get useful information out of the government. This study points out that most patients and physicians think that cannabis should be a pain medication paid for by the fucking insurance companies.
And shout out to the C word with a big all super chat who says all humans lie except me. I don't know if C word is referring
Survey
to me
says that was a lie.
or referring
No,
to.
he's not referring to you.
I think he
would
was.
say except Jason Beck.
I think it was.
I would agree with that.
lying.
Yeah, all humans lie except for me. I agree with that one.
Yeah, I don't lie.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah. What's those lies? The checks in the mail and I won't do what in your mouth. And
The only time I lie, Dale, is when I'm lying down to go to bed.
Yeah.
That was a lie.
We're taught from a kid that you tell little white lies and shave the tooth, because if you tell grandma her breast stinks, she's going to slap you. So you don't say that kind of stuff. You just learn to not tell the whole truth. It's one of the problems we have with society versus a court, where in court, you don't get to shave the truth. You get thrown in jail or get held guilty of perjury if you don't tell the whole truth. And most of us can't think enough to tell the whole truth. We just tell lollygag little stories, and every once in a while we'll say what actually is the truth. The rest of it's just horseshit. We tell stories all the time. Most information's worthless.
And
we put it out all day anyway.
And speaking about lies, Vermont Alternative in the chat says labs lie, loud weed doesn't.
Yeah.
I think we can
Your
all.
loud weed's also not screaming, there's Eagle 20 on me.
Yeah, I think. Well, if it had Eagle 20, I don't think it'd be that loud.
It could still be loud. It might have, come on. Russets are a hell of a drug.
I think it would be screaming as opposed to being loud.
Hell of a bug.
Well,
Let's all do Cat 4 testing everywhere.
Yeah.
Start the cap.
Yeah.
Start the cap.
Weed for the people. Let's go to a commercial. We're going to be right back.
Oh man, that was weird. Hey, you America. Do I look like Sean Connery?
Good
morning, America. Saman Razani coming to you live from sunny Los Angeles, California with the one and only highest host, Mr. Jason Beck, smoking on the best weed in the world. Did you know that we have an audio-only version of our podcast? You can find it on Apple, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. No excuses in 2024. If you haven't checked us out, check it out now. And also, check out what the Prophet's doing in 2024.
Thank you. 13 on 11.
Stop whatever you are doing. Make sure that you hit that like button. I know you'll appreciate it. We'll appreciate it. And YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show will be up on our website in just a couple of hours. And make sure you mark your calendars for not this Friday, but next Friday, where we will have the scientists from Abstracts Labs coming in and bringing in some brand new research that they have just discovered in regards with cannabis. And we can't wait to share it all with you. We will be going overtime on that day, so make sure you mark your calendars for that.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
Yeah. Up next, y'all, is the highly opinionated, melanated, and 13 years liberated conservative voice behind Kind Cannabis Consulting and Justice Serve 501c3. The right-wing thorn in Jason Beck's side, Jenny Beth Dills. For real.
Damn. All right. Well,
congratulations, man. Happy anniversary.
I'd rather focus on somebody's marriage who's working. Shout out to Rachelle and her new boo. Yay, Curdy and Rachelle.
My marriage is working.
What?
Hey, the divorce worked great for me. Not advising. Anyhow. All right. So let's talk about, this is an interesting story. I was really kind of stoked to find it because it seems like we're not the only country who's having problems with weird cannabinoids being sold in places they shouldn't be without age gates and things like that. So in a significant move, the Czech Senate has approved new restrictions on the sale of kratom and hexahydrocannabidiol, or HHC, substances that have raised concerns regarding youth access. If signed by the president, these products will be available only to adults and sold in designated stores starting this December. Sounds familiar. The decision comes after a troubling incident earlier this year where primary school children in Karlovy Vary were poisoned by HHC-laced sweets. Senator Carol Zitterbart emphasized the need for regulation, noting that children can currently purchase kratom without oversight. He stated, repression does not work. What makes sense is regulation. Senator Roman Kraus, chair of the Health Committee, certified that the goal is strict regulation rather than prohibition, highlighting the estimated sale of 200 to 300 tons of kratom annually in Czechia. The amendment, which passed the lower chamber of deputies in May, sets clear guidelines for the sale of those substances. They will be restricted from vending machines and cannot resemble toys or sweets. Additionally, online sales will require age verification and substances will remain prohibited until assessed and approved by the Ministry of Health. As part of this legislative effort, the Ministry of Health also proposing the legalization of personal cultivation of cannabis plants, allowing up to 3 per individual. However, experts warn that the proposed limit on dried cannabis may be impractical. So this is doing a couple things. First of all, it sounds really, really familiar to what we're dealing with here, right? Like, I love that they lumped kratom in there because I just think that stuff's kind of gross, but that's just my personal opinion, man. But HHC is they're facing a similar situation with what we're doing with all of our Delta 8 stuff and our weird little interesting THCA gummies and THCA flower. So I appreciate that they're trying to enact something to keep it out of the hands of kids. I think that it's awful that primary school age kids got that. And obviously we know it wasn't poisoned, but nobody wants your elementary school kid coming on high as shit, right? So, and then it's very exciting that they're establishing instead, they're like, hey, let's take this synthetic shit away. Let's make it not available to kids. Let's actually regulate it in an appropriate manner. And then also, let's give you the ability, patient, to grow at home and create your own medicine. So I think I'm for anything that creates any home grow. I think 3 plants is pretty low. We might want to look at that because the dried limit is a little impractical if you can grow. So we'll figure it out, because I'm sure Dale can tell you, if you get busted, they're going to weigh the root ball and everything and every drop of water and soil in that pot and give you as much weight as humanly possible. So I don't know. I'll throw back to you guys. I just thought this was really interesting to see this coming from the Czech Republic. And yeah, what do you guys think?
I think we're all trying to protect our children, and I don't have any problem with that. But I'm still waiting to see if any place, any country can actually do this in a way that's effective. So far, I don't think anybody has. Kratom, I'm more concerned about than I am with the THC alternatives and isomers and things like that. This Kratom, I think, does have a lethal dose that you can actually achieve.
I agree with that.
But having children have access to this stuff, I think we're all against, unless it's medically overseen and you know what the kid's doing. Because just going to school and popping a bunch of gummies that have God only knows what in, that's not what you send your kids to school for.
Dale, I think we need to add one other caveat in there, is that it's administered by a parent or guardian too.
Well, it would have to be. It would have to be administered by a parent or guardian, because a parent or guardian is the only person that's going to be able to purchase it from a licensed store.
I just want to say,
at schools, they can have nurses oversee too. I mean, there are ways the kids go to school with medicines all the time. You don't just allow them to be in class shooting up shit because, it's their medicine. No, they got to go to the nurse. They've got to, they don't get to go out in the parking lot and smoke their stuff. So there are ways to do it. But I'm not confident that any government can do this, because governments, when they start to build a horse, end up with a fucking 3-legged giraffe. So I'm just not convinced they can do this right. So I'll be cautiously optimistic and watch.
No, I agree. I think, and Kratom scares me. Like, I've had friends who were opiate addicts, right? And they switched over to Kratom. But like, to me, that's like, oh, I'm on probation. I can't smoke weed. Let me go get some spice. Because like, I watched this girl chug her morning Kratom and project. I'm like, ew, I got to leave. Like, you have a good day, friend. But like, that's disgusting. And I don't understand. I just don't. I think it's trading. It's like, getting off of it and going to the methadone clinic. Well, congratulations. Now you're addicted to methadone.
You just walked away. You said, have a good day. Like, are they okay? What happened?
That's between her and her God and that puke all over her kitchen. What am I supposed to do? Clean up your drug addiction throw up? No, thank you.
Make sure they're still alive.
She's alive. Her boyfriend was there. She was alive. I didn't leave her with her devices. And stop it, Rico.
Did you at least hold her hair back?
Shit, no.
We don't have an answer for drug addiction. We just don't. We're afraid of it, and that's why we keep getting such bad press for weed, because people still associate it with drug addiction, which it's very difficult to become addicted to weed. And if you do, it's like being addicted to spanking your monkey. If you can't walk away from that, you really got some problems here. But if you've got a monkey at your back, then you've got some serious, serious problems. And we just don't know how to handle this. But we do it badly.
Hey, man, you got to clean the pipes. But what I'm saying, I thought was interesting. Yeah, what was interesting about this story of the Czech Republic, I was going to say, is that cookies? Like, that is not cookies. It's like a knockoff brand cookies.
It looks just like cookies. Well, listen, it could be a different brand. I mean, it looks like cookies to me. The font is cookies, the coloring is cookies, and they very politely covered up the actual name of the brand, right?
The logo is like an F instead of a C in the same font.
Never mind.
Let me tell you what's really interesting is we have a picture of Jenny Beth 14 years ago today, you guys.
Shut up.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes. Watch this.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah.
You don't want to do this.
Can we just see Rachelle's happy wedding pictures?
Hold on.
What's your eyebrows look like?
What's
your eyeliner look like? There we go. Oh, look at this.
How do you do that, Jason?
Speaking of eyeliner, Dale, I cannot believe.
It's an anniversary of her divorce. Why are you gonna post that picture?
It's
man?
the anniversary of my wedding.
I think that's a great. I think that's a great picture.
I'd rather look at Rochelle's stuff and like focus on a wedding that's going to work.
We're going into that next, Jenny Beth.
And I'm also upset because I've been specifically trolling the shit out of Rochelle's social medias, waiting to see these wedding pictures, and I can't find any. So DM me some, sis.
And shout out to private.
They're coming soon.
Okay, I've seen a couple.
Speaking of lashes, you guys, I can't believe Rico is polling at 54% in this beating JD Vance.
Rico. Oh, you don't believe the polls, Jason? You go to head to Fox News and Rasmussen, and they'll tell you otherwise. How about that, Jason? Right?
You know what I've really been following is the poly one, because that's where it's like
polyamory,
gambling on the election, and man, she
polygamous. Yeah, I've been following that shit too.
I bet.
Polyamory.
Yeah, we're gonna go to a
Listen, we're not touching that one with 1, 2, 3, or 4 polls. Okay, so no, thank you.
Hey, somebody else is that's into that shit. So I'm just saying.
I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum. I just am not.
I beat you to it.
My name's Ben and I ain't in it.
We are going to a commercial and we're going to be right back.
The Control Tower from Highly Educated has perfected the dab. Utilizing the concept of thin film evaporation, you can waste none of it and taste all of it. The micro texture of the SE pillar increases nucleation at elevated temperatures. And with the tower propelling at 2,600 RPMs, it's certainly the most efficient dab experience to date. The Control Tower from Highly Educated.
I still love love. I would do it again. I would do it again with the right person. I wouldn't file the paperwork and get the government involved.
We're back, you guys. We are back.
I don't know. I had to get that one off.
I figured everyone.
I got wedding pictures from Rachelle, and they're fucking cute, you guys. I'm obsessed with that jumper.
I love this. Well, let me tell you something, you guys. Coming up next, that's right, is the woman who now has a last name, but we're still are going to call her the same. It's Miss Rachelle Gordon. She was just recently married, you guys, just last week. And so we want to give a big congratulations to Rachelle. Yes, congratulations. That is so fantastic. And Rachelle's new last name is, I'm going to probably mess this pronunciation up, but I know that you sent it to me.
Why don't you let her tell us?
Really?
I want to hear what he thinks it is.
Yeah. Thank you.
Trying to save his ass.
Thank you. Jeez, it's pronounced Kinnaman. Rachelle Kinnaman. Yes. Did I get that right?
I like that.
You did.
Amazing. Yeah. And her wedding was actually sponsored by Lego, and I can't wait till you guys see this picture. You guys, this is so good.
Brick by brick, baby.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, that's actually really cute. That should have been y'all's like, oh, damn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you're showing, but is it the Lego guest book?
It's the Lego guest book.
You?
The Legos, yes, the Lego guys.
No.
Yeah, everybody made their. There it is. Yeah, everybody made their own Lego minifigure for the guest book.
That's so cute.
They were wild. They were wild.
That is.
Can you tell who's who?
Well, they're labeled, but if I couldn't, there were a few that I was able to guess because some of them fell off, and I was like, that's him, that's them. There were some, I had literally picked out pieces ahead of time, like, oh, this face looks exactly like this guy or whatever, but then they all got mixed up, but the right pieces ended up where they were supposed to, so.
That's amazing.
That's cute. Aww. Yes. Shout out to everyone that was able to attend this, and congratulations, Rachelle.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. We were battling the wind. We were battling Mars retrograde. But it all came together. Everyone got very stoned, and it was a beautiful day.
And there was plenty of bush light?
There was more than enough bush light. Not quite enough black cherry white claw. Plenty of bud.
Do you have seltzers? Do you have cannabis seltzers there?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, and what was funny, it was like, we tried to give away some of the extra alcohol, had a hard time with it, but all the extra THC drinks at the end of the night were gone. All the vendors, there were lots and lots of drinks. Everybody was quite enjoying them, which we love that journey. So, yeah, and shout out to my new husband, Kurt. Hey.
Yeah, shout out to Curtis. Congratulations, Kurt. Yes.
Yay. And Photos are coming soon, and our very good friend Matt Adams, stellar videographer and editor, he actually showed up as a surprise. Well, he was invited, but he showed up with his camera as a surprise. We were not going to have him work that day, and he offered to make a video for us. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be sick. The photographer said the photos are looking sick, so more to come. But for now, let's talk about the latest from Green State. My first piece back after my time off for the wedding. And here's a big question that we're going to answer. Which state is the most stoned in the U.S.? And actually, I was quite surprised by this, so let's take a look. Cannabis consumption is more prevalent in the U.S. than ever. 38 states have some form of legal weed, and roughly half of Americans have at least tried it. While states like California and Michigan lead the nation in cannabis sales, the state that consumes the most pot may surprise you. To find out which state is the most stoned, analysts at Insider Monkey reviewed data from SAMHSA's National Survey on Drug Use and Health. They looked at, quote, the total percentage of residents aged 12 or older who reported consuming cannabis within the last 30 days before the survey. As it turns out, one tiny Northeast state took high honors. According to the analysis, Vermont has the most residents who report consuming cannabis. Nearly 25% of respondents from the maple syrup capital said they used a pot product in the last month. With a nickname like the Green Mountain State, it seems Vermonters take the moniker quite literally. And while there was no data on what type of cannabis is being consumed between adult use or medical, recreational marijuana has been legal in Vermont since 2018, but medical was approved 2 decades ago. Coming in second in the most stoned state race is Alaska. Roughly 22% of residents in the last frontier report using cannabis. Rounding out the top 5 were Oregon, New Mexico, and Washington. One might assume that California would rank somewhere near the top on that pot smoking list, given its long history with cannabis cultivation and medical marijuana. However, the Golden State barely made the list, coming in at number 20. 20 out of 20 on this list, by the way. Only 15% of Californians reported using cannabis in the last month. The lower number could be explained by the fact that many residents live in an area where dispensaries are banned, or perhaps California wineries are just that much more popular. Cannabis is becoming more popular by the day. As markets continue to come online and the federal government mulls reform, the number of people trying pot will only rise. Polls are mixed when it comes to the nationwide average of cannabis consumption, but there's no doubt bud is hitting the big time. What do you guys think? Were you surprised to learn that Vermont smokes more weed than anybody else? I wasn't that surprised, but it was not what I thought would make the top 5, let alone number 1. So,
I mean, is there much else to do in Vermont?
Yeah.
If there is, maple syrup, I'm fucking here for it. I'm sorry. Vermont in the chat, don't get mad at me because I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time there. But it would seem to make sense to me that if there's like in cold places where you can't go out all winter, there's a lot of kids because there's nothing else to do but stay home and what makes kids, right? So I think that makes sense to me that Vermont's smoking a bunch of weed, but maybe the Vermont folks are just like, hey, why not? We don't care about admitting to our weed use. So that's probably skewing the polls somewhere.
Good point.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, Jenny Beth. Like I have not been out there still. I'm ashamed, but I've heard nothing but positives about. I've heard nothing but positive about Vermont weed, about the quality and about the stoner culture out there. So big ups to Vermont, man.
Yeah, and right now is the season to go to Vermont in the fall when all the leaves are turning colors. It is so beautiful. I have family in Vermont, and they actually make maple syrup, Jenny Beth. So they're sending me a couple gallons over. Maybe I'm gonna let you try some.
On what? Neither of us eat carbs.
I think I'd be fine to just cooking some bacon and letting it soak in that.
I'm Donald Trump, and I have this message.
That sounds very healthy.
Oh, so good, so good.
Very kosher of you, Jason Beck.
Hey, I try to keep it. You know what I mean? I got good numbers yesterday, so yeah, I was stoked.
Oh, good.
Oh my God. No, that's very surprising. I would have thought like Vermont would be up there, but this is like more proof that I need to check Vermont out. Big shout out to Vermont, man.
Rochelle, how is this? Was this based off of just they asked X number of people in every state, and then they're the ones that said the most, or how did that actually work? How did they quantify this?
Yeah, so they looked at this really big nationwide survey on drug use, and basically they analyzed numbers from each state. Anybody 12 or older who reported using cannabis in the last month. That's how they calculated the percentage. So like what percentage of people in this state that were in the survey. And I think that's really interesting that they did people who were 12 or older, not 18 or 21. I'd really like to see them break it down further, like what teens in each state, smoke the most weed, that sort of thing. Not that we want to condone teenage cannabis consumption, but I do think it's interesting that for this specific purpose for Insider Monkey, for them to look at 12 and older versus actual grown-ass people.
This is fascinating. Shout out to Vermont. Congratulations. The green state is truly the green state.
Shout out to Bernie Sanders out there getting it done, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he'd be lit.
Hell yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Man.
Litting like a mitten.
Mm-hmm. Bernie was high as hell at that inauguration.
That's right.
Legs crossed, mittens on.
Vibing.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. He had something else to do. He was going to get a snack.
I think he had eyeliner on though.
That's okay.
Oh boy.
When you get older, the skin around the eye is a little crepey. It's a little difficult.
Oh, don't I know? Yeah.
Rico is still winning in the polls right now, you guys. Like,
you keep on refreshing? You gotta keep on hitting the refresh button, Jason?
Stop talking about it because Rico keeps fluttering his freaking eyes like he's a bad bitch every time you say it.
That's the whole thing. We're having Rico flutter his eyes. Since everyone loves him so much, we might as well flutter him.
Mm-hmm. I thought he's going to run for office here soon.
He's mad right now.
What am I mad about?
I don't know why you're mad.
That is so crazy to me.
It's your natural disposition.
Jeez, you guys. No way.
Your body language is tense right now. You gotta relax. Is today Tuesday? We're smoking vanilla. We need you to relax, bro.
Today is Thursday.
He already got stretched out this week.
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Man.
Let's pause. I got you, Jason.
Thank you. Well, you guys, speaking, since people want to have shots fired, I have a couple shots to fire off myself, you guys.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, yes. Yes. Because there's a federal ban on gun possession by marijuana consumers challenged in federal court of appeals arguments, you guys. Yeah, pow, pow, pow. Lawyers in a federal appeals court faced off this week over when the government may lawfully disarm someone for using marijuana, with the Department of DOJ arguing that merely a person's recent use of the drug is sufficient to establish that they're in violation of the law and should not legally be able to possess a gun. Judges on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, however, pushed back on the government's position, noting an oral argument on Tuesday that recently published opinion within the same judicial court held that while some limits on a presently intoxicated person's right to carry a weapon may be constitutional, disarming a sober person based on past substance usage is not. The arguments came as 3-judge Fifth Circuit panel reconsiders the case of U.S. versus Daniels, which earlier this year was set to be considered by the U.S. Supreme Court, but was among a number of firearms-related cases remanded back to lower courts following a separate ruling about firearms and domestic violence. A Fifth Circuit panel previously ruled in favor of the individual in the case who faced a conviction after admitting to having used cannabis while in possession of a gun. The court said the federal statute known as Section 922G3, which prevents someone from unlawfully user of an illegal drug before buying or possessing firearms, was unconstitutional. Central to Tuesday's oral arguments were questions of whether the other Fifth Circuit opinion about gun ownership by marijuana users, known as U.S. versus Connolly, was binding on the appellate attorney. Attorney Jonathan D. Bruckner, representing the federal government, said he felt the court should revisit Connolly. Buckner said that even if Connolly Conley is the new Fifth Circuit standard for when the federal position on gun ownership by marijuana users is unconstitutional. That doesn't mean that cannabis use has to occur at the same time a person is holding a firearm. In a quote, I read Conley as allowing for a conviction to occur if someone is engaged in that use, even if it's not at the contemptuous time that they possess the firearm, he told the panel. If you want to own a gun, quit using drugs. Judges noted that the Connolly ruling talks about a very tight temporal nexus between marijuana use and firearm possession and says it's really hard for me to think you can reconcile Conley with this week's earlier ruling, one said. Buckner responded to that, but rewind this a little bit, or slow this down a little bit. Thank you. Buckner responded that he recognized Conley and requires a closer temporal use, but he argued that convincing the defendant of unlawful firearm ownership should be warranted, or I can show that he is still a user, they say. Lawyers for Daniels, meanwhile, told the court that the government is merely seeking to expand its ability to restrict gun ownership by people who use or have used marijuana, you guys. And in a quote, they're saying, as I was listening to opposing counsel Kimberly G. Gore, who argued on Daniels' behalf on Tuesday, told judges during rebuttal that, in quotes, the only thing that kept running through my head was that the government is looking for a way to broaden the scope of its ability to restrict a fundamental right. In an additional quote, he kept referring to active user, she said, but that's not the standard. The standard under Conley and the standard you set in the intentional Daniels decision was active intoxication. Man, Dale, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. In Conley, the court ruled that the government failed to demonstrate that lawful restrictions on gun ownership by domestic abusers or the mentally ill were sufficiently similar to its law against firearm possession by drug users, you guys. And in a quote, laws designed to disarm the severe mentally ill do not justify depriving those of sound mind of their Second Amendment rights. Judges in that case wrote, and they also wrote, the analogy stands only if someone is so intoxicated as to be in a state of complete lunacy, end quote. Judges on Tuesday seem skeptical of Gore's argument that her client's conviction should be simply thrown out as the result of the Connolly case, and they suggested instead that the case might be remanded to a district court and retired, potentially giving prosecutors a chance to argue that Daniels was actively using marijuana at the time.
Retried.
At the time he possessed the gun, you guys. Gore protested that officers simply smelling marijuana at the time of Daniels' arrest doesn't demonstrate active use. And in a quote, they're saying, you could smell old cigarettes, she told the court. Oh, that's an interesting argument. In an additional quote, that's a good closing argument to be used at a retrial, one of the judges replied. Man, oh man, this is going to get good, Dale. The Fifth Circuit panel consisted of Judges Edwin Smith, Stephen A. Higginson, and Don Willowit, and they took the matter under submission and did not indicate when to expect a ruling, you guys. Man, oh man, this goes on and on and on. You'll be able to read this rest of the story over on our website. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Historically speaking, I don't think this Supreme Court is going to allow this for very long. I mean, we've got a couple of cases in the last few years, the Bruin and the Rahimi case, where they took a look back to 1791 when the Second Amendment was enacted, to see how was the use of a substance dealt with when it came to your right to keep and bear arms. And if that's the standard we're going to use, and someone just smelling weed or someone who have used weed in the past is not actively intoxicated and not trustworthy to have a gun, I think they're in trouble trying to criminalize this.
Yeah, and you know what, Dale? This is basically the same argument in the other case that we covered that was here about the conceal and carry permit license that we covered here on the show. basically this argument was made, and they ended up winning the ability to be able to apply for their concealed and carry, and that was right here in California.
Well, the Second Amendment's relatively clear. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, if that's where you start, and if the court's going to make you look historically, and a lot of these attempts by the government to keep you from bearing arms through drug use are just not going to stand up to scrutiny. And this may have to go back to the trial court to have more evidence taken to see if they can prove or disprove the person was actively intoxicated and therefore not trustworthy. Because historically, if you're drunker than Hogan's goat and you're out in the street shooting your guns off, someone's going to take them away from you and give them back to you when you sober up. That's historically how it was done. They don't take away your gun rights because you get drunk. They give them back to you when you're sober. We're going to wait and see, because the Supreme Court has now made a couple of clear statements. We're going to look historically at how it was handled, not how it was handled since the Controlled Substances Act was passed. No, they're going to go back a lot further than that. So this is going to be interesting to watch as it gets ferreted out and goes back up to the Supreme Court if necessary.
Dale, oh, go ahead, Jenny.
I mean, constitutional law, equal protection under the Constitution of the United States of America. Anyone Dale is absolutely right. And I'm really excited to see how this rolls out, because, I mean, you can't, I don't know. 2A gets me all pissed off because I would like to be able to defend myself, and I don't want just the terrible people to have guns, right? And yes, they're shitty people. I would rather you make sure that people who are absolutely insane or bipolar and off their meds don't have guns. If you have a lithium prescription, maybe not a gun. Something like that is a lot more feasible than if you've ever used cannabis. You can no longer protect yourself.
Yeah, Dale, I wonder if they're going to have to switch up their whole way for how they deny people their 2A rights. And I think ultimately this is probably going to come to if you are caught, firing off a gun in some type of way, or use a gun in some type of crime, and you test positive for weed, then they'll probably will ban. I think that's where this is probably going to end up at.
Well, I think they should. If you're caught using a gun for a crime, you shouldn't be able to own a gun. Like, if you're shooting up a convenience store, yeah, that's a good reason to say, hey, Joe Blow doesn't need a fucking gun anymore.
I agree with that. I'm just saying.
I don't really care if he smoked a joint 72 hours prior. Like, that's the whole problem that we have, and that's why we continue with this prohibitionist rhetoric, is because just because cannabis is somewhere in the equation does not make it a causation.
Well, there's a bigger problem with just giving someone a felony, because historically, when you walked out of prison, they gave you your guns back. Okay, so we have, if you're a violent felon, okay, I don't have a problem if you've been convicted of violence, but I have a weed felony. I've smacked a few people in the mouth before, but I've never knocked off a liquor store. Okay, so why should I not be able to keep and bear arms because I had a marijuana felony? Historically, they didn't do it that way. I think there's a lot of these gun prohibition attempts that are going to fall flat on their face over the next few years.
Dale, are you saying that you pistol whipped a couple people in your past?
No, he said he slapped people.
I smacked a couple of motherfuckers in the mouth.
Okay.
I've been smacked in the mouth too. So
all right, fair enough. Just want to make sure to clarify.
With a 5-finger say to the face, motherfucker.
Oh,
Dale said, "Talk to me nice, Jason Beck." Jason did the whole head move.
I'm pro idiot slapping.
I agree.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, I wish they would give guns back. Unfortunately, they melted mine.
What do you have to say about this, Rachelle?
Not paying attention anymore.
Not paying attention anymore. Oh man.
Let them shoot.
Sorry.
On that note, as we allow Rachelle Kinnaman to enjoy her marital bliss.
Yes.
Let us all.
Yeah, I'm still trying to come back to life. So it's like, I'm here. Nope, not anymore.
No worries.
Yeah, no need. Just marinate in that shit as long as it lasts, because it's a good time, and you bring in a joyful tear to my eye to bring me back to my wedding day. over a decade ago as well. So big shout out to the married folks out there. Big shout out to the divorced folks out there. Big shout out to the single folks out there too. Stay married to the game. No date of annulment. But thank you all for joining us for yet another episode of High 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to the superfans showing love, getting their comments posted live on the big screen. We had the C word today.
Yes, shout out to the C word. No, just the C word today.
The
Shout
C
out to
word.
the C word, yes.
Keeping our Wagyu
love.
beef over here in the studio, keeping it stocked up like Costco after Diddy went over there.
Whoa.
No.
It's crazy.
Because he didn't go. The whole point is he didn't go to
Stop
Costco. It was a
it.
lie,
Stop it,
right?
bro. Stop
Let's
it.
stay-
Stop it.
He stays.
Stop it.
They don't have baby oil. So
That's
also
not-
our
that's
live
not what the
audience,
purchase order says.
all our supporters, cast across all media platforms, tuning in each day to the headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. A Reddit correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective, your respective opinions to the table. Production team, cloud media partners, sponsors, keeping the lights on at AV Struggles for a minute. We did pretty good. How about that? We had some shout outs in the audience, so big ups to everybody behind the scenes, keeping us together. Adam, Millie, Anthony, all y'all, man. We love you guys, and thank you everybody out there for sticking with us too.
Yes.
From the heart. As always, Cannabis Sativa, the reason why we show up every single day to read these stories. Thank you too. It has been Thursday, October 10th. 2024. The show's over. Y'all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it's enough for you to put in your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News, America's #1 daily news show. And today we're going to pop things out to the newlywed herself, Rachelle Gordon. What you got for us? You gotta give people some bliss. Spread that love.
Shout out to my husband, Kurt, and shout out to everybody who helped us with the wedding, including my father-in-law, Ron, who I guess rebuilt the tent when it almost blew away. So thanks, guys.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Legos.